Happy New Year, folks, and welcome to the very first random video blog of 2018, where every single Friday I, Graham G.S. Matthews, run down my rambling wrestling thoughts, share a few stories, etc., etc. And since it is the first random video blog of the new year, you know exactly what it's time for. My 7 things that I want to see happen in 2018 in WWE. I've done, I think, 3 other videos like this. I did 2 in 2016 because it's super funny. If you go back and watch the one that I did in 2016, I did it on New Year's Day in 2016. That's when it was uploaded. No more than 3 days after the video went up, I said that I wanted AJ Styles in WWE that Friday. That Monday, news breaks that AJ Styles is on his way to WWE. I think 5 out of 7, if not 6 out of 7 of those things I put in that video came to fruition. And so I had to do another video at the mid-year point in 2016 talking about what else I want to see happen in the remainder of 2016. I think a bunch of those things happened too. So I'm looking forward to seeing what among these predictions comes to fruition. I'm not sure what happened in the 2017 video I did. I can't even remember what I wanted to see happen. I know a few things happened, like Kurt Angle returning. Not sure if I talked about that. I feel like I did. I don't remember. But anyway, so I know there's a bunch of things that I said in that video that did not come to fruition. Like I wanted to see Gallows and Anderson, I think, move to SmackDown. Never happened, obviously. Hopefully in 2018. I'll talk about a few other things I want to see happen in regards to stuff like that in the new year later on in the honorable mentions. But for right now, let's check out these 7 things I want to see happen in WWE in 2018. Starting with number 1, I talked about AJ Styles 2 years ago on this very random video blog. I said I wanted this guy in WWE. I had no expectations for him. I had no hopes or aspirations of him ever becoming WWE champion. Not that I didn't want to see him become champion, I just didn't think he would, let alone even make it here. He did. Not only did he make it to WWE, he became a 2-time United States champion and now a 2-time WWE champion. He kicked off 2017 as WWE champion. He's kicking off 2018 as WWE champion. Except for this time, it does not look like he's dropping the title between now and WrestleMania, which is great. Last year, he lost the WWE Championship to John Cena at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Don't think that's going to happen this year. I really, really hope he walks into WrestleMania as champ. Not only do I hope he walks into WrestleMania as champ, I'm hoping, here's the first item on my list, that we get AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE Championship. Now, this is not a bold prediction by any means. I'm not the only one to want this match. But it seemed pretty much like it was destiny for it to happen as soon as Nakamura came up to SmackDown 2 days removed from WrestleMania 33 last year. AJ has been riding high ever since, and Nakamura's had his pitfalls every now and again, losing to Jinder Mahal, losing at Clash of Champions, losing at Survivor Series. The guy has not had the most amazing track record lately, but I'm hoping he can get back on track at Royal Rumble with the Royal Rumble victory. I'll be there, so seeing that happen in person would be amazing, and definitely the best Rumble ending, hopefully, that we've seen in quite some time. But at any rate, even if he doesn't win the Rumble, maybe he can win a title shot at the February or March pay-per-view. I assume he won't have to, though. I assume he's going to win the Rumble. That's my hope anyway, so we'll see. That's my early prediction as of right now. But first thing I want to see happen in WWE this year is AJ Styles versus Nakamura for the WWE Championship. I mean, period, but at WrestleMania is an added bonus. I'm not delusional to think that it's going to main event the show. It will be a main event. Like, it's better than AJ kicking off the show again. Now, his match with Shane was amazing, don't get me wrong. The guy should have been in a higher match in the card that year. Shane is a pretty prominent program, don't get me wrong, but it was the fucking curtain jerker of WrestleMania 33. AJ deserved to be in a main event that year, if not the main event that year. So, like I said, I don't think AJ versus Nakamura will close out WrestleMania. It should. It won't. I think that's going to go to Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, which is also not yet set in stone, but it kind of sort of is. But I do hope in 2018 we get to see, at some point, preferably at WrestleMania, AJ Styles and Nakamura facing off for the WWE Championship one-on-one. Second item on my list, I talked about before about people signing with WWE 2 years ago. I said I wanted AJ Styles in WWE in 2016. It happened mere days later. This one, I mean, that was a completely random prediction. because there were no rumors of AJ coming over at the time I recorded that video. This one seems pretty likely, so again, not a too bold of a prediction, but Ricochet signing with WWE is something I want to see happen this year, preferably sooner rather than later. It's been said for months now, ever since Lucha Underground Season 3 ended back in October, September, that his contract was set to expire in January of 2018. Well, here we are. It's January 2018. I think the exact date that he's free to compete anywhere else. I think he's also wrapped up with New Japan too. I might be wrong about that. I don't know if he's signed to New Japan or if he's just been working over there. I'm not too sure. But he's free to compete on TV, I believe, starting January 16th. The Rumble's 2 weeks later. Then again, Ricochet coming up to the main roster immediately would be cool. Putting him on 205 Live, Tommy's been there for 2 weeks. The guy already looks miserable. So I'm not sure how good of an idea that would be. Maybe at some point, but and I know they want to bolster that live event tour they're doing later this month that no one gives two shits about. But anyway, I do think putting him in NXT to begin would be great. I know War Machine is also rumored to be heading over to NXT as well, if not in the main roster. That's pretty cool. I like Ricochet a lot, though. Loved his work in Lucha Underground as Prince Puma. I've enjoyed other matches of his that I've seen. I enjoyed him and Cody Rhodes. It made my list of cheap plug top, I think, 8 matches that I saw live in 2017. I did that video last week if you want to check that out. I got to meet the guy that day. Really, really cool dude. So would love to see him in WWE as Ricochet in NXT. Maybe we see him show up at TakeOver later this month, and then that'd be pretty lit, as the kids would say. If not soon after, an NXT taping of some sort. But anyway, I hope to see Ricochet sign with WWE at some point in 2018. Coming in at number 3, the third thing I want to see happen this year, no specific order, by the way, these are all things that can happen at any point in 2018, is Adam Cole, baby, winning the NXT Championship at some point this year. The guy's been killing it so far on the brand. I know he suffered a loss to Aleister Black not too long ago, but it was a good match. He came into the brand with a huge bang at TakeOver Brooklyn 3, formed the Undisputed Era that same night. The guy's been killing it. I do think Aleister Black, we'll get back to in a moment, spoiler alert, I do think Black's going to pick up the championship at TakeOver, what would it be, New Orleans, the night before WrestleMania, or would it be 2 nights before WrestleMania, or the night before WrestleMania? It's on the Saturday now before Mania. I do think Black's going to win the championship there, so maybe Adam Cole wins it in Brooklyn or later on, I'm not sure. I mean, I guess you could call Adam Cole up before he even wins the championship, but I feel like he deserves a championship run first in NXT to kind of get his feet wet with the WWE system before being called up instantly. I know Bobby Roode is not lighting the world on fire right now, but the guy really benefited from having a lengthy NXT championship run first in NXT before coming up to the main roster immediately afterwards. So Adam Cole, baby, winning the NXT championship at some point this year is on the list of things that I want to see happen in 2018. Coming in at number 4, speaking of whom, Aleister Black, I want to see him called up to the main roster in 2018. Now, people are going to scream and yell and shout at me like, dude, why would you want to see this guy on Raw or SmackDown? He's going to be buried. 90% of the call-ups from NXT, especially in recent years, have been fucking, abysmal. The people aren't abysmal. It's how they handle them is abysmal. Nakamura, like I said earlier, the guy's been on a fucking pay-per-view losing streak since SummerSlam. Bobby Roode, again, not letting the world on fire right now. The Revival, they have, zero plans for at the moment. So, Ty Dillinger was recently found on SmackDown after, a 3-month absence. So, I have no hope that they're going to use these guys well, including Black, but hey, you know what? I said about Nakamura, how can you fuck up a guy like that with an entrance like that? But they did, so they could do the same thing for Aleister Black, but the guy is really, really good. The main roster is where they make their money. They can't stay in NXT forever. They got to be called up at some point. I know people hate to hear that, but it's got to happen eventually. Maybe SmackDown is the right place for him. At one point, I thought calling him up to the Cruiserweight division would be pretty cool, because I know he's worked 205 Live matches before on house shows, in the last year. At this point, especially with Neville being gone, no desire to see that happen. With Hideo Itami, it was a last resort type thing, because the guy was going nowhere in NXT. Black, on the other hand, has a pretty bright future in NXT. The guy's been undefeated in singles competition since he showed up. He's had great matches with Hideo Itami, Andrade Cien Almas, Adam Cole, most recently of the Velveteen Dream, one of the best matches all year in WWE in 2017. And the guy is very likely to face Adam Cole again at TakeOver Philadelphia in a few weeks. The guy is great. I hope to see him get called up at some point in 2018. Like I said before, maybe with an NXT Championship run first, starting a TakeOver New Orleans, and then gets called up maybe after like Brooklyn or something. You know, he doesn't have to stay in NXT for too much longer because the guy is really fucking good. I think Vince would see that entrance and just start jacking off at the thought of this guy being a world champion. I know he's not 10'4" or whatever. He's not 7 feet tall. But the guy is amazing. That entrance alone, Vince is going to get his hands on and be like, wow, this guy's a fucking star. How can you mess up someone like that? But we'll see. Time will tell. Don't want to get ahead of myself. Coming in at number 5 here on the list, 3 in 95. Big E reference from NXT. The 5th thing I want to see happen in WWE this year is Rey Mysterio returning to WWE. If RG's watching this, if Haley's watching this, they know they are big fans of Rey Mysterio. This one's for you guys. But yeah, I think so I've talked about this before. I know I've done lists like this before. It's crazy to think it's been like 3 or 4 years since I started doing like videos like this. I remember doing a video like almost like a little over 2 years ago. Feels like 3 at this point, which is crazy. I did a video of like 5 people I wanted to come back to WWE. I know Shane O'Mac was on that list. He came back early on in 2016. I don't think Goldberg was on that list because he was one of those people who, like, if he never came back, it wouldn't matter much to me, though his return was really, really well done last year. Goldberg, I don't think was on there. I think Scott Steiner was on there. Don't think Batista was on there. I would mark if he came back this year. I think there's a good chance he will. I'm not going to say him, though. I think Kurt Angle and Jeff Hardy had to have been on that list. They came back last year. So this year, not like the biggest return they can do, but I'm going to say Rey Mysterio. I really want to see Rey Mysterio back in the company. Now, he left the company almost exactly 3 years ago. He got released. They gave him the old good luck in your future endeavors type thing. Best of luck in your future endeavors. That fucking shit. But he has not been seen on WWE TV in like 4 years. Since the night after WrestleMania 30 when he got beat by Bad News Barrett. And the guy's not been seen since. His contract, he didn't want to come back. He was hurt, blah, blah, blah. So he's been killing it, though, on the indie scene. The guy's been a hot free agent on the indie scene for the last 3-4 years now, between his work in Lucha Underground, where I don't believe he's going back to, which kind of sucks because I really enjoyed him over there. I think talks fell through with GFW, Impact, TNA, whatever the fuck they're calling themselves nowadays. But having him come back to WWE for one last run would be pretty cool. Now, again, a lot like with Ricochet and Black, like I talked about earlier, would putting him in the Cruiserweight division be the best thing? You know what? Honestly, it might. Because like with a Tommy, like what else can you do with a guy like him? Like a Tommy, if he got called up to the heavyweights right now, no one would give a shit. Not a single soul would give a shit. I know the Cruiserweight division is a kiss of death right now, but it's better than nothing. With Rey Mysterio, he's better than that, but he can lend a lot of experience to guys like T.J. Perkins. I know T.J. Perkins is pretty much a veteran, but Kendrick and Rey Mysterio, Jack Gallagher and Rey Mysterio and Enzo Amore doesn't really interest me. Rey Mysterio and Kalisto would be pretty cool. I know people don't really give a shit about Kalisto anymore, but it would still be pretty sweet. So yeah, I know he was kind of like a mini Rey Mysterio light for a little while in late 2015, early 2016. That push went nowhere. But yeah, seeing those two mix it up would be pretty cool. So yeah, I would love to see Rey Mysterio back in WWE this year. I know talks, I think, fell through at one point a few months ago. That's not to say he still can't come back. I know people are saying, I know Dave Meltzer said he's got other plans in 2018. You know what? He doesn't have to come back right away. But a little booyaka at the Royal Rumble, hey, I'm just saying, that'd be pretty lit. Coming in at number 6 here in the list of things I want to see happen in WWE this year. Talked about him a bit earlier, but Bobby Roode going heel. Now, this is not a big bold prediction. It's just kind of something I want to see happen just because I feel like he's way better off as a heel. He's over as a babyface. People love the guy. But it's like he really cannot be a compelling character until he goes heel. He really fucking killed in NXT. He was an amazing heel in TNA. You gotta have the guy be a natural heel. That's what he is. He's a natural heel. You gotta have him go heel on SmackDown at some point this year and have him do his thing and kill it. And hopefully become a mid-card champion. I know he's in the current contention for the United States Championship. I don't think he's winning. I have no desire to see Jinder Mahal's champion, but hey, you know what? It's better him as U.S. champion than WWE champion. Bobby Roode, though, as champion this year has got to happen in the main roster. The guy's been doing okay for himself since he got called up, but he would be far better off if he was a heel. So hopefully we do see him go heel at some point this year. I think he will. I don't think they'll make the same mistake with Dean Ambrose, where the guy's a babyface for like 3-4 years. Dean Ambrose was different, though, just because he was super over. Roode's over, too, to an extent. But it's not the same. The guy's got to go heel. I'm not even really sure why they called him up as a babyface to begin with. Maybe they just didn't have a strong depth of baby faces on the Blue brand when he first got called up after SummerSlam. I don't remember. But he's got to go heel at some point this year and hopefully pick up some gold along the way. And coming in at number 7, again, remember the title of this video, things I want to see happen in 2018, not things I think will happen in 2018. Daniel Bryan returning to the ring. So I'm just going to say it. I want to see him return to the ring. Do I honestly think it's going to happen? No, not at least in WWE. Not in WWE. I do think he's going to return to the ring when his contract expires and he leaves. I do think he is going to go. I don't think there's a huge chance he's going to resign with WWE. He very well could. I would not be too surprised. But I do expect him to leave when his contract expires in the fall and then wrestle somewhere else. It might be, hey, he might have the whole 30-day or 60, 90-day no-compete clause, even though he has not wrestled since February or, fucking April of 2015, which is ridiculous. But anyway, he might have to wait until, like, hey, final battle is right around the corner in 2018. Just saying. Ring of Honor's premier pay-per-view of the year. It's right around the time the no-compete clause would be up. But at any rate, I think Daniel Bryan returning to the ring in 2018 is a pretty cool thought. Again, something I really, really want to see happen in WWE. If it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. But we've seen weirder things happen in this company. We've seen far stranger things happen. So never say never. Want to see it happen. Don't think it will happen. But fingers crossed nonetheless. So a bit of a lengthy video here today. But we are talking about things I want to see happen in WWE in 2018. So I feel like it's justified. So again, real quick recap of the 7 things I want to see happen in 2018 in WWE. Number 1, AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE Championship, preferably at WrestleMania. Number 2, Ricochet signing with WWE. Number 3, Adam Cole, baby, winning the NXT Championship. Number 4, Aleister Black getting called up to the main roster. Number 5, Rey Mysterio returning to the WWE. Number 6, Bobby Roode turning heel. And number 7, Daniel Bryan returning to the ring. Again, in WWE is what I want to see happen. I think he might return to the ring later on in the year, like after WWE, after his contract expires and after he leaves. But we're talking solely WWE here, which is why I have no New Japan, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground Productions. Just solely WWE stuff. And NXT too. So that is my list. What do you guys want to see happen in WWE in 2018? I feel like it's going to be a good year. I like 2017. My favorite year in wrestling so far has got to be 2016. For some people, like, oh, 2016 was a shit year. Like, why would you say that? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of things I enjoyed about 2016. So that is my favorite year in wrestling to date. And we've kicked off, the new year in pretty big ways in the past between stuff that we've seen happen in, like in 2016 and 2015, 2017. So hopefully 2018 is no different. I will be at the Royal Rumble later this month. So looking forward to doing more Rumble content in the weeks ahead. But of course, guys, be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Find me on the socials in the description box down below, Twitter, Facebook, here on YouTube, the website, Bleach Report, blah, blah, blah. You guys know the drill. So anyway, have an awesome rest of your weekend, guys. Have a very happy new year. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.